Hey everyone, it's Michael GoosebumpsFan. I hope you're doing well today. I have another video of a thing like Goosebumps, because I love that segment here on the channel when I can do it, when I do take a break from some Goosebumps and read or watch something that's kind of like a Goosebumps typey thing that I might want to recommend to you guys, or just talk about in general, good or bad. So, this is a film called The Ghoul. It's a 1933 film starring Boris Karloff as the title monster, the Ghoul. I love Boris Karloff. The more that I watch of his work, I just can't help but absolutely love this dude's work. He always brings something really valuable to the table. He really knows what he's doing when he's playing a monster. He really brings something fun and creepy and eerie to it. And this is a different role than what I've seen him play before. I haven't seen a ton of Boris Karloff stuff. I've seen quite a few things, but I've not seen a bunch of his stuff. And this was interesting in the sense of, essentially, he is a guy who is obsessed with Egypt-type stuff, like Egyptian-type things, Egyptian gods, that kind of thing. And he has this stone called the Eternal Light. And he claims that on his deathbed, that when he dies, that he wants his butler, for example, to, before he dies, bandage up this stone into his hand and make sure that he's buried alive, or that he's buried when he's dead with it. If it's not in his hand when he's buried, when the moon's light shines on his tomb that he built, this really custom, cool, like Egyptian tomb, the set for it is fantastic. I love the sets in these old black and white horror films. It looks so good when they show the tomb itself. When the moon's light hits that tomb, at least on the door of it, he's going to come back to life and go after specifically his butler or whoever else has taken the stone. And of course, the time comes to pass, this man dies. Of course, Boris Karloff's character was actually debating a lot with his butler, because the butler's apparently a Christian, from what I understand, and the way he kind of talked, and he was kind of praying and debating with Boris Karloff to come to faith in Christ, which was interesting. I thought it was kind of cool. It wasn't, you know, constantly thrown in your face or anything, but it was kind of subtle. I thought it was kind of a neat thing for that time, for 1933. It's almost been 100 years since this movie came out. Like, it's been like 12 years, it'll be 100 years? Wow, that's insane. It's 2021. It's crazy. The film itself is only, I think it was an hour and 20 minutes? I gotta check IMDb. Yeah, an hour and 17 minutes or so. And the thing just flies by. But it also has this good, kind of solid, slow pacing to it. There's a lot of characters in here, for example, Boris Karloff's, I guess they're a niece and nephew. I'm not entirely sure who they are, but they just kind of assume that they have inheritance here with everything that this man owned. He caused division between their two parts of the families, and now those families hate each other, so these two cousins, or whatever they are, hate each other as well, but then awkwardly enough, they're kind of falling in love, so maybe I'm wrong, maybe they're not cousins, but I'm pretty sure they're supposed to be. At certain points in the film, they talk about being related or whatever. I think they do. I'm pretty confident they did. It was a weird time. 1933 was a different day. Anyway, so the black and white atmosphere and the cinematography and all that, of course, being black and white, really adds to the eeriness of a lot of movies kind of like this. This is not my favorite black and white film. It's not my favorite Boris Karloff film. The makeup for his face as this, like, I don't want to say creature, because he's basically himself just coming back from the dead, but like the kind of corpse-like look to him is very haunting, but it's also very much a resemblance of his makeup for Frankenstein when he played the monster. I think that's kind of cool. It's kind of a neat little reference to a film he did 2 years beforehand. I don't think Bride came out until, like, was it 35? I think? Maybe. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe it's 33, maybe the same year this came out. I don't remember. But anyway, the makeup's kind of similar. It's kind of neat. I kind of like that. Again, the sets, fantastic. Absolutely love them, whether it be the house or even just the room that Boris Karloff owns and lives in on his deathbed, for example. It's just wonderful. It almost kind of fits this feel of kind of like the Scrooge thing, you know, kind of like Scrooge, Ebenezer Scrooge from Christmas Carol. It has that kind of feel for his character before he dies and whatnot. The Egyptian stuff in here, if you love that kind of thing, if you love that kind of stuff being thrown into a story, like with the Mummy films from Universal, if you like that kind of thing, it's all over the place in this movie. It's really neat. I really dug that part. As a big Universal fan, as a big Mummy fan, there's a lot of stuff in here that's kind of resembling that. I really dig it. There's a lot of cool stuff in here to check out if you like Goosebumps, if you like things like Goosebumps that I recommend here on the channel. This is interesting. It was fun. It was interesting to watch. I love black and white horror. If you're not a big fan of that, Goosebumps is very much inspired by it, as I've said over and over and over again in these videos when I talk about movies like this, these old black and white flicks. So if you like Goosebumps, give this a chance. You might really like this kind of thing, especially like the Universal Monsters flicks, which are even more kind of an influence on Goosebumps, more so than something like this. But the Ghoul was fun. I was anticipating a lot more. I didn't go into the film knowing anything about the film, but I was expecting it to be better than it was. I'm kind of in some weird way disappointed about it, but I really liked it. It was really solid. I think I like the Four Skulls of Jonathan Drake the most compared to this, when I talked about that the other day. Or, yeah, the other day for me, it'll be like yesterday or today for you, when you guys see that video versus this video. They were not recorded anywhere near each other, like a week apart. But, yeah, when it comes to the Ghoul, I don't really have a whole lot to talk about with this. Some of the side characters get on my nerves. The female lead in this film, very beautiful woman, very good performance from pretty much everybody in the film, but she herself is one of those cousins I talked about that kind of hate each other. And she has kind of a maid girl that works with her, that, like, takes care of her house and stuff with her. And this lady is so weird. She can be funny at times. She can kind of be annoying at times. I'm talking about the housekeeper, not the main female lead. That secondary housekeeper character kind of gets in the way of the story a little bit. I don't really like her involvement here, especially in the finale. She's a little too involved, in my opinion. Sometimes you have movies where certain characters, you don't want them in the finale. Either they should die earlier on, they should be the cannon fodder to die, I mean, or or just keep them away from the main characters. Let them be the big solution for the finale. But the overall arc of the finale I really like. I think there's some really cool stuff in the third act of this movie. With example, the tomb, that scene. If you've seen the film, you know what I'm talking about. That tomb set I love. I think it is so well done. This is really cool for a 1933 flick. I really dig it. I want to watch some more movies kind of like this and talk about them here on the channel, of course, God willing. But yeah, The Ghoul wasn't like an amazing flick, but it was pretty solid for what it was. I really dug it. I think it's pretty recommendable for Goosebumps fans. If you guys haven't seen this before, you should check it out. It's free to watch on Amazon Prime at this current moment. I don't know about the time you see this video, but it is right now. So yeah, you never know. You might like it. You should check out some of these old black and white horror films if you haven't seen them before and you like Goosebumps type things. There's a lot of correlation between the two. There's a lot of influence from the black and white horror genre on R.L. Stine when he wrote Goosebumps. I say this all the time. Like I said, it's worth repeating because I think people that come to the channel this might be their first video or one of their first videos. And they might not know that, might not even think about that or realize that if they happen to be a younger person. So, The Ghoul, not the greatest thing ever. Ending is a little weak in some aspects. Really solid flick for the most part. Really great sets, really good utilization of Boris Karloff. He's just as scary as ever. There's a couple of times he makes some choices. I'm not really sure why he did this or that. It was what it was. But overall, I like the flick. Overall, I wouldn't like go out of my way to buy a copy of this, but I kind of like old black and white horror films enough I would buy a copy of this to put in my collection just to have it and rewatch it in the future. So I don't know, is my recommendation worth really anything? I don't know. Again, it's not up to the par of like Frankenstein or Dracula with Bela Lugosi or anything like that, but it's solid for what it is as a monster flick. It's kind of that par for the course type of black and white horror monster flick thing, guy coming back from the dead type thing. So if you've seen this kind of thing before, you probably are not seeing much different from anything before that you've seen that are kind of like this at that time period, like the 30s, 40s type stuff. But it was fun, had a good time. If I had to rate it on a 5-star basis, I'd give it like a 3 out of 5 stars. Yeah, what did you think about The Ghoul? Best part of the whole film is the sets and Boris Karloff, easily. What's your favorite part of the whole film? If you have seen it, if you plan on watching it, or if you already have watched it based on my recommendation, what did you think about it? Put your thoughts and comments down below. I would love to hear what you have to say about it, folks. I had a good time. Really cool flick, interesting to watch, kill some time with. An hour and 20 minutes flies by. So, there was that. But anyway, what are your thoughts? Put them down below again. Thank you for watching. May the Lord Jesus Christ bless you guys today, and goodbye.